We're spinning. Good morning. I'm Beth Hildenbrand, and this is Booked Up with Beth. And this morning we have a special guest, Bryony Best. And she has written a wonderful autobiographical. I can't speak this morning. Oh, Lord. So welcome to the show, honey. And I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you very much for having me. My name is Bryony. I live in sunny Wales, and by sunny I mean very rainy, wet Wales in the UK. And I have been publishing and writing books I published my first book back in November 2021. So we're coming up for my 4-year anniversary as a published author soon. That's exciting stuff. I've published 9 books. And I write quite spiritual books, meaningful books, and as you said, semi-autobiography. I also work for a charity here in Wales, and I volunteer as a holistic healer, and also with my dog, who is a Chihuahua, and she is a pet therapy dog. So that is a little bit about me. And when I'm not writing or meditating or at one of my many employments, then you'll find me up in the mountains. This morning was up kayaking on Keeper's Pond. I very much like just being outside.
Oh, I'm an outside girl too, raised on the farm. So I miss that terribly. I'm stuck here in town now with the houses, this far from each other. It drives me nuts. So the book you sent me was The Girl from Pompeii, Conversations with the Dead. That's and right. This was a wonderful book. And wow, I was just blown away by this book. And now your biography that I read said that you are a Reiki master.
Yes.
And you also do crystal healings. So could you explain this for people?
Yeah, sure. So I'm very much into holistic therapies or alternative therapies, if you want to call them that. I am a spiritualist at heart, but when I went through a time in my life where I had quite a few medical conditions, when then you find that medicine fails or doesn't quite help you to heal, you start looking at all these alternative therapies and how they can help. And I'm quite a energetic person. And I decided to look into working with crystals because they've got their own frequencies, they vibrate. So it's not necessarily religion. You can look at that as science if you like, because it can be measured scientifically. And I also enjoy doing Reiki, which is universal healing, which is something else that's very acceptable to people no matter what their religion is. But it's using universal energy to help to heal people's chakras. Now, my spiritual healing is captured onto spirituality. So if someone isn't a spiritualist, they wouldn't necessarily come to me for spiritual healing. So I started looking at something that was more acceptable and more universal, which is why I started studying and working with crystals, and why I started attuning to do Reiki healing and then work my way up to be a Reiki master. And I use those skills in a voluntary basis here in Aberystwyth in Wales. So it helps to help people's energetic field. So humans, no matter what your religious or afterlife beliefs may be, we have energy that flows through us, and that energy has a flow. Some people think of it as the chi, or depending on your outlook on life. And those energies can get blocked, or those energies can get sluggish, if you like. And you can use crystals and other tools and methods to help get that flow back in, which can help people heal faster. I'm not saying that someone could sit on my table with a broken leg and I would heal that broken leg, but it would help the person to be at their best optimum to heal faster. So with people, you've got the physical, which is your body, you've got the mental, which you could say is your mind, and then you've got this energetic level. So I work on the energetic level to help people heal.
That's fabulous.
Thank you.
That really is. I like the concept of that very much. And I also believe that there is such a thing. And it's, I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say, so I'm just going to shut up. Okay. It'll come to me later in the show, trust me. So the book is about a girl who hears voices. She she hears spirit voices. I'm putting this very badly. I should be awake by now, you would think, but I'm not. So she can communicate with the spirit world, let's put it that way. And she has a hard time understanding it and dealing with it. And so she turns to alcohol and drugs. And I'm just amazed by this girl because she's out in the world as a young teenager, working and taking care of herself. And at the same time, she's got all this going on in her head, and she's just totally not knowing how to deal with all this. And I can't imagine how I would deal with it. That's crazy. And so she thinks she's crazy, and the only way she can cope with it is to kind of drown it out with the alcohol and the drugs. And she just starts going downhill after so long, and she's looking for help, and finally finds someone, a doctor, who says, you know what, maybe you should try talking to someone in the spiritualist community to help you deal with this. And I was like, wow, I can't believe a doctor would say that. It was wonderful that someone did to try and help her. And it turns her around, and she learns how to deal with this. And how much of that is actually you?
True. All of it. It's very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting that I was already a spiritualist when I was going through this stuff, but even I had not one part of me thought that the voices I was hearing were spiritualism, because they were so different to what I was used to. But it's because of the effects of the alcohol and the drugs that I was attracting, obviously, a darker side, the earthbound spirits. So even when the doctor suggested that because they were literally about to commit me to somewhere called St. James's, which is where I'm from in Portugal, which is a mental institution. And this was literally the final step before you go there. And I was like, yeah, pack my bags, let's go. I'm completely, I know that's not necessarily the correct way to put it. And it was them that actually said, let's try this, the spiritual. And I was like, no. But the interesting thing is I have an awful lot of friends who are clairvoyant mediums or work in a spiritual aspect. And they've 9 out of 10 of them have always been diagnosed with either psychosis, schizophrenia, you name it. And if you happen to come across a doctor who happens to say, let's go that route, then you're very lucky. This could be a very different story. We could not be talking right now, and I could still be in St. James's, popping tablets and listening to voices. Who knows? So, yeah, very pivotal part of my life that went one way when it really could have gone another.
And how many people, have ended up, how do I want to say, with some cuckoo trying to exorcise them even, thinking that they have demons, and all along it's just because that's a big thing these days that you see on TV all the time with these people that claim to be, I just somehow lost all of my comment stuff. But, pardon me. Josephine says, wow. People are constantly being misdiagnosed. Yes, and how many people end up with people trying to exorcise something out of them, and it's not that at all. It's just, they are able to sense things that the rest of us are completely immune to.
I mean, medicine's advancing all the time. We're always learning things. I mean, if you go back 40, 50 years ago and think about if you had a child who was diagnosed with on the spectrum, then they would have actually been sent off to what would have been called then the funny farm or the funny hospital. They would have been put into the mental institution. Now we understand it a lot better. We understand it a lot more. And my books aren't here to try and convince anyone of my beliefs. Hence why the tagline is Bryony gifted, or does she need professional help? Because I let the reader make that decision. So I'm not here to convince anyone. But scientists have studied people who say they have clairvoyance, gifts, and mediumship. And it is something that obviously paranormal is investigated and is very popular. But unfortunately, it's not necessarily something that's for everyone, which is fair enough.
Yes, I believe that as well. And I have a son who is autistic. And it amazes me because every few years, it's like somebody flicks a switch and he's just, boom, way ahead of where he was. And it's fascinating to me. He started out in, special needs kindergarten. And the next thing you know, he's in first grade. all of a sudden, he just jumps way ahead of where he was. And it's like, how did this happen? So, he's like high functioning. And, now we're finally talking about college, and he's managing the baseball team, and he's doing all these wonderful things. And yet when he was 4 years old, he was in a class with children who couldn't even feed themselves. And we're thinking, he doesn't really belong here. But yet this was the only place he could go. It was the only option we had at that time. So, it's amazing how things just become different.
Yeah.
And how much we advance over the years. And the way things are just understood differently. So I'm so happy that you found that doctor who could say, you need to look at this. I'm glad you're not in the funny farm right now, because you can share this with people, and, maybe they can take a look and say, hey, maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe I'm seeing things different than other people see them. And that's wonderful. And in the same way, you can also, talk to people about alcoholism and drug addiction as well in your book, which, as I told you earlier, I have traveled down that road myself. And it's not fun, and it's not easy. And for me, it was my children that stopped all that. When I got pregnant with my first child, I gave up everything, even caffeine. I was like, oh, nope, I've got somebody else here, done with everything. And so, I think everybody has their point where they say, no, this is enough. And so, it's nice that you can write a book and share this with people. And I hope that maybe somebody reads this book and says, you know what, she has a point here.
Well, the funny thing is the only reason that was my second book. It's a prequel, but it's the second one. In my first book, I only touched slightly on spiritualism. I didn't go too in depth because I thought it's my first book. If I didn't want to have a religion tagged onto my first book, and for it to potentially make me miss out on a certain type of reader. And the only reason I then went and done the prequel, which talks about my spirituality, etc., was because loads of readers kept contacting me and they said, you speak about being a spiritualist. I want to know more about it. How did you grow up in a Catholic household, hearing and seeing spirit? And that's why I then went, the readers want to hear about it. So that's why I then done my more spiritual book, if you like, was because the readers asked for it. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have gone that route. I don't know what would have happened.
Well, I'm glad you did, because it's a really fascinating subject. And I think some people look at it jaded, and other people, go into it totally accepting. And, I think, well, even if you want to get into the Bible or the biblical part of it, there was the Witch of Endor. I write occult horror. So, I'm open-minded about these things. There was the Witch of Endor. It says right there in the Bible that she talked to spirits. Well, okay, you can, decide not to believe that, but hey, it's in the Bible, people. Check it out for yourself. You can read it right there, black and white. Hello. So don't tell me people can't talk to spirits, because it says you can. There. Evidence. Anyway, I'm chasing squirrels again. I got to stop that. So yes, I do believe there are things that normal people can't perceive that other people can. And you're not a witch. Okay, that was okay.
I don't mind. I've been called worse.
I didn't mean to put it that way. Spiritualist sounds much nicer than witch. Okay, I'm saying this so wrong, but the point is, yes, that's what they called it in the Bible, but we have nicer names these days, and we don't go burning people at the stake. What it is I think people have, a higher frequency, some people. Yeah. And that's a blessing, I think. And, yeah, it may be, I feel for you that, it must be hard to deal with at times.
I think it probably was when I was younger. It's very confusing as a child, as a very young child, it's very confusing. But then it just becomes natural. I mean, if you don't mind me sharing a personal memory, I've got a memory of being
Oh,
at my
yes.
okay. I've got a memory of being at my sister's house, and I was talking to someone who I thought was there, but no one else could see them. But I didn't know that at the time, so I'm just like chat, 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 chat. And my nephew Trey walked past, and he must have been about 6 or 7 years old, and he saw me chatting to basically thin air, and then he just carried on walking. He didn't even blink. It was completely normal for him to see me chatting to someone that he couldn't see. That's how normalized it was, or become, should I say. And I think people are very interested in it because I'm going to show off now, but Conversations with the Dead, it went to #2 bestseller on Amazon. And
Oh,
it's
good
gone
for
to the top
you.
100. So I think people find it very interesting, whether you believe or not, or you can just read it as a complete fiction if you like, which is why all my books are actually published as fiction, so people can make of that what they wish. So, yeah, I think it probably was hard, but now as an adult, I don't find it hard at all. It's natural to me. It's as natural as breathing is. So it's more beautiful. I feel more privileged to access or be able to see something or sense something that others don't. So it's definitely not hard anymore, no.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You learned how to embrace it.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. In the book, you seem to struggle at the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, as a little kid, you seemed to kind of think it was cool, but then as it started growing, it was harder for you. And then in the end, yeah, you seem to embrace it. And I think that's a wonderful thing. I'm
Thank you.
so enamored of this book. Everybody must get this book. I had a hard time getting this book. I have to tell you, we went round and round trying to get me this book. And finally, you know what? I ended up buying it. I could not get this book, so I finally just got irritated and said, "Bing, I'm buying it." So I bought the book, and it was worth it.
Good. Good. I'm
I
glad.
have to tell you, because I really enjoyed it, and like I said, I'm very enamored of this book, and it was such a nice change because I'm always reading fiction, and I'm not awake this morning, but anyway, it was such a good book, and it was such a change for me, and it was a nice change to read like a true story and get to know you before I ever met you. And just your whole life was there from birth till now. I mean, literally from birth. Her birth story is in this book even. And, your father.
Yeah.
And the problems you had with your father and your siblings. You get to know your whole family through this book. And it was just so much packed in one book.
Mm.
And it sounds like you're very close to your family.
Yeah.
Or your siblings, and that's a wonderful thing. I have 5 sons, and they're together every weekend. And I'm like, I did something good there. That my children are constantly together. And so I like that part of your book as well, because you have that connection with your siblings. So yeah, it was a good book for me. It really was. And I really enjoyed it. And to see you overcome so many things in this book. I mean, it seemed you were constantly bebopping from house to house and moving around from here to there, and how you kept going and functioning is just incredible to me.
Yeah.
And you were so smart. I mean, you could just master any job they threw at you. And it was just, wow. I mean, you are one tough cookie.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I think it's the message of resilience within my books. So if I talk about just the first two, so my first book and then the one that you read, I had no idea they were going to blow up and have the impact that they did on readers. I had no idea. And then when I found out the books were being used as resources in mental health in the UK and America,
wow.
It just absolutely blew my mind, because people started reading my books, and there were the reviews. You can read the reviews, and they say how the books are quite life-changing. They inspired them, especially my first book. It's got 10 years of real research data for happiness and fulfillment. And you get to see my struggle after all the drink and drugs, and my research into why some people are happy in life and why some fulfilled. And that's something everyone wants. But I had no idea those books were going to have that type of impact. And I think it's the resilience and people getting to see the ugly truth. There's a lot of stuff in the books that most people might have taken out. They might have gone, do you know what? That makes me look horrific. I'm not going to put that in the book. But I thought, no, warts and all. Let's have a bit of honesty. In a world where social media, people are putting the nicest pictures with the nicest filters, how about we have some honesty on some paper? And I think it's that raw honesty and the story of resilience that gives people hope and inspiration to actually carry on. And I think that was the biggest part of those books that probably gives them so much speed and why they've done so well in so many small corners of the earth, should I say.
Well, you are to be admired.
Thank you.
I must say, you have, like I said, I am enamored of your work. I really am. And congratulations
Thank you very much. Thank you.
In the biggest way for all you have accomplished. I did not read the reviews. I'm going to have to now because, I thought it was fabulous. Now I'm going to have to go back and get the other book because I didn't know there was another one. And I got to read the first one now. I'm swiveling here. Oh, okay.
Well, can I give you a warning if you do decide to read the first one?
Mm-hmm.
So the first book has an awful lot of very dramatic reviews, which is wonderful. But the first book is unedited. So when the publishers were looking through the book, I said, change spelling mistakes, change grammar mistakes, but nothing else. So this is the only one that I wouldn't let them actually edit it. So therefore, it's not easy to read. It is not easy on the eye, and therefore I think it has a different impact. And because you've read the second one, which was edited, you'll then go into this one and think, oh gosh, this one's a bit harder to read. So I will give you a pre-warning on that one. That's why I always say to people, they say, which book should I read first if this one's the prequel? And I always say, read the first one first, because that one's unedited, and then you'll go into the easier reading. So I will warn you that it was purposely unedited to be like a real life conversation. And when you look at the reviews, I mean, they blow me away. Sometimes I do read them. I know we shouldn't. Just to remind myself where it all began. So I will give you that pre-warning. But for the Girl from Pompey series, there's actually 5 books for that series that goes all the way up until me coming to Wales. So it goes all the way from the second one's from 2011 all the way up till 2024. So,
wow. Good morning, ladies. Good morning, Val. Good morning, Penny. Thank you for coming. Penny, this woman is incredible. You would just love her to death. We're talking about her wonderful book, The Girl from Pompeii. And I just, wow. So do you have the third one out yet, or?
I've already released 5 of those ones.
Oh, 5?
Yeah, 5. Oh. Yeah, you've got. Hang on.
Oh, wow. So, more reading for me.
This is the one that you read.
Yes.
Conversation with the Dead. This is my first one. So, Discovering the Key to Happiness and Fulfillment. And then the third one is a thriller. It's about a murder between me and my friends at a cabin.
Ooh.
And I had to blur their faces out for legal reasons. That one's quite a hard read, but I love thrillers, but obviously it's quite sad for me for obvious reasons. Then the next one, which is Escaping the Rat Race, working through COVID on the front line as someone who hears spirit. And then my latest one for The Girl from Pompey is Unraveling Bryony's Forgotten Chapter. So it's another thriller. It's how my stalkers and all my issues end up coming to Wales. So that is the ones I've done from the Girl from Pompey series. My others are all standalones, and those ones are actually just part of a collection.
Yes, you do have to check out her books, honey. They are fabulous. Or at least the one I read is. I'm going to have to go back and get the rest now. I'm serious. I do this. I ended up reading one woman's 7-series book in a week. I just kept going. I do these things. And then here I end up with the migraines because I just can't stop reading. It's ridiculous because my eyes are so bad and I can't stop reading. And then I end up with a migraine. And everybody's like, well, you did it to yourself. Yeah, I know. But, when you get into something you really like, you can't stop. And when I tell you that I do this, I literally do this. So now I'm going to have to go back and get all these books and read them. Because I just loved this book. It was incredible. So yes, I'm going to tell everybody to check this out. It's a 5-star read, and that's what you will be getting in my review. Is a big 5 stars.
Thank you very much.
And you'll be getting more when I read all the other ones. I'm going to say, you can't stop. I know you are. I know. You'll have to do it too, Penny. It's terrible. It's terrible. You just can't stop. And you just get your claws into a good book, and it just takes you away. It really does. Who was yesterday? I'm trying to think. I can't even remember what I did. It's her own story. Yeah, you came in late. It is her own story. That's where she got the inspiration. And it's absolutely incredible. Yes, it's autobiographical.
I was actually
autobiographical. Yes, I can speak. I can. See, I woke up this morning with a headache and I had to take a pill. That's why I'm I get migraines where I have to hide in the dark. It's a terrible thing, but I refuse to miss the shows. She says, oh, wow. Yes, it's amazing. And, oh my gosh, you just have to check out this book. So I'm going to ask you to put your links for the book on my Facebook page with this show so that everybody can find you and your books. And, yes. So when I do these shows with, Josephine's group, I don't have my PA with me. And she usually puts that stuff up for me. So I have to remind people, it's a huge insight into who you are. Do you mind being asked difficult questions? Josephine says.
No, not at all. I actually go into schools and I do early intervention for drink and drug addiction. Ooh. And I also do sessions for mental health and how to spot signs in it and where to go to. So I do that in schools, which I think is amazing because it's something that they don't have, is someone going in, someone separate and actually doing a whole session on it. I mean, some local areas might. So no, I get a lot of difficult questions, especially from younger children. And when I say younger, I mean from probably ages 12 upwards is the groups that I usually go and see. I do a lot of sessions for letting go, acceptance and letting go, because I'm also a goals and motivational coach. So when I do sessions on that, I usually have people turn up who've got very dark past, a lot of trauma, and they can ask some very sensitive questions. And I'm not a private person. If I was, I wouldn't write books that were based on my life, that's for sure. But I don't mind hard questions. And just to go back on what you said earlier about the inspiration, when I was meditating, inspiration struck and I had this overwhelming urge to start writing down my life story, because I used to talk to people and they used to be like, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, that never happens to anyone. And my life has been crazy. I mean, you think kidnappings, murders, drug running, deaths, you name it, the list goes on. Alcoholism, heart attack at 21. So I started writing down my life story, and that's where the inspiration came from. But the reason I kept on writing is because of readers contacting me and saying how much it changed their life. People would come up to me and start crying at book events, telling me that their books have really helped them, especially my books on healing. So that's what inspired me to keep going, if I'm honest. And I've got the bug now. I love writing.
Oh, the book is called The Girl from Pompeii. Penny said she came in late and she missed the title. Yes, it's called The Girl from Pompeii. And I will have Bryony put it up on my page with this interview, so you can get the link and find the book. It really is fabulous. And Josephine says, do you hug? Only asking, as I think you deserve a huge one when you meet.
Yeah, I can hug. Oh, it's going to be so fun. Yeah. When we get to, yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
Oh, Penny said, thank you. Yeah, you are just such an inspiration. I really just, wow, the things you have been through. And I thought my life was crazy. Like I said, I went through the whole alcohol addiction thing. I didn't really care for drugs. It wasn't my thing at all. I was just a crazy alcoholic. Yeah, I used to tease that I had my bottle of Jack Daniels and my case of beer, always rode shotgun. And yeah, that was always my jam. And then I had a husband who hung himself. And so, I had some goofy things going on with my life. But boy, you take the cake. And here you are sitting here, and bless you for going and talking to kids about it, because that age group too, that is where you come into the danger zone. It really is. I think I started sneaking pills about 12 years old. And then, I getting in the liquor cabinet and adding water so the parents wouldn't find out like they were that stupid, they really, like they couldn't tell that their booze was watered down. So you were always getting caught. But yeah, that's the perfect age group to get a hold of kids.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And not just the children either. I mean, I do a lot of group sessions for adults about letting go and moving forward. And the reason I think I'm so successful, have such a dramatic impact with it, and I'm going to quote, I've been to a lot of therapists and psychologists over the years, and I baffle them. That's the God's honest truth of it. Because someone who's been through all the traumas that I've been through, who's functioning so well, baffles them. They can't understand why I'm not more torn up. And I mean, I did hit my rock bottom. I was an alcoholic and I was a drug addict. So I'm not saying everyone should do that. However, I can look at everything in life as a lesson and not look for the why, which is why I don't sit there getting upset about every little thing that happened, and why I can then move forward with life. And I think when I do sessions with adults, I can really help them let go of their trauma, because, and this is where I'm going to come across as a bit airy-fairy, people don't need to be in as much pain as what they are. People don't need to. We do it to ourselves up here. And
Thank you.
Once you can give someone the key to release that, then it just becomes freeing. And people can actually start looking at all these different things that hold them back and just start dropping them on the floor. They're not needed and they're not wanted. And I know that makes me sound a bit airy-fairy, but when people are in that position where they're almost at that stage of, I really, really do want to move on, but I just can't, then I can help them take those steps. So everything I've been through in my life, as traumatic as it is, I wouldn't change one thing of it. Not even the most gut-wrenching, horrible parts, because it's made me the person I am today, and it makes me able to stand in front of other people and help them through those bad times and inspire them and give them words of wisdom to say, hang on, you can move forward and be happy. You can't wait for the perfect situation in life to be happy, because the perfect situation does not exist.
Exactly.
It's a choice. Yeah.
I'm the same way. It's like, I'm not going to sit around crying about things that have happened, because you know what? It's done. It's over. Mm-hmm. All you can do is say, hey, tomorrow is coming, and tomorrow's going to be as good as I make it. That's all there is to it. I don't sit around worrying about what happened 10 years ago. You got to let that shit go. And you are just such a great example of what a person can make of themselves. And I am so grateful that I got to meet you today. Thank you so much.
Lovely to meet you too.
You are just such a shining example of what a strong woman can be. Mm-hmm. And, I am going to sing your praises far and wide. I really am. This has been such a wonderful interview. And yes, I am so thankful. But Josephine says, however, all trauma aside, we do like a little crazy. Letting go is the word. Yes. Well, we all know I'm batshit crazy. I've never, tucked my crazy in. It's out there for the world to see.
Let it shine.
Hell yes, honey. I'm about as nuts as they come, and I embrace that shit. Yeah, all you have to do is read one of my books to know how screwy I am. Yep. And I
will check
enjoy
them
it.
out.
What?
I will check one of them out.
Oh,
see how crazy you really are.
Oh, I am, and I enjoy it. I am unfiltered. Yeah, I just got to a certain age, and like I said to a lady yesterday, I have never put a filter on any of my Facebook stuff, and I never will. I will be 80 years old and still wearing spike heels and as much bling as I want to. And if it pisses people off, I don't give a shit. Kane, yes, we know you love Kane, honey. And I am Kane. Yes. I am writing the new one, and you are in it. I'm putting Josephine in my new book because she just loves it so much. And
that's brilliant.
She put me in one of her books once. I was a pink-haired witch, I believe.
Did you say you write occult horror?
Yes, ma'am.
So is she gonna be unalived in your book, or will she make it?
Oh no, she's gonna make it. She's gonna make it. She's actually going to end up being in the sequels.
Try Kane. I will check Kane out. You've got me intrigued now.
Oh dear. The queen. Yes, I was the queen. I was the pink-haired mean queen. That was it. She loves me so. She makes me the pink-haired mean queen. Oh, geez. Yeah, I was the evil queen. That's me. Oh, Kane is a hoot. Yeah. You won't look at me the same after you read that book. Most people don't. But yeah, I write occult horror. You weren't mean, just men hangry, okay? Okay. Well, it's time to wrap this up. So thank you so much, honey, for being on the show. And like I said, if you want to put all your links up on my page, just make a little post and put it on my page.
Yeah.
Next to the show, that would be great. I want everybody to find you because, wow, you just wowed me. And if you can hang on for just a second after we sign off, that would be great. So everybody, please check out Bryony and all of her books. Yes, it has been brilliant. You were wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show. And everybody have a wonderful Sunday. And I will see you next weekend. Bye-bye. Love ya.